A radiant Los Angeles afternoon set the stage for an encounter that would redefine what it meant to stand for one's beliefs and embrace unity. Barron Trump, a thoughtful young man in his late teens with a quiet dignity and a penchant for introspection, had spent the morning lost in the pages of a novel, absorbing ideas and dreams that painted his inner world with vivid colors. Today, seeking both a reprieve and a taste of the city's refined elegance, he set his sights on L.A. Terrace, a restaurant famed not only for its impeccable cuisine and sophisticated ambience, but also for attracting a dazzling array of celebrities, CEOs, and influencers. As he approached the towering glass doors, Barron's appearance was striking yet understated. On his head sat a bright red MAGA hat, a piece of personal expression he wore not to provoke, but as a testament to the freedom of thought and individuality. The hat, bold against his otherwise classic attire, seemed to capture the essence of his spirit. Unyielding, self-assured, and unapologetically true to himself. Stepping inside, he was greeted by the gentle hum of polished conversation and the soft clink of fine dinnerware. Every detail, from the ambient lighting to the art adorning the walls, whispered of luxury and exclusivity. Yet, amid the carefully curated decor, a subtle tension began to stir. Almost immediately, eyes in the room shifted in his direction. A couple of diners exchanged curious glances, and a pair of waitstaff leaned in to murmur quietly near the bar. Unperturbed, Barron chose a secluded corner table, a spot that had always provided him solace and allowed him to observe the world with a reflective calm. He settled in, his gaze drifting over the menu with an ease that belied the storm soon to break. Before he could lose himself in the anticipation of a sumptuous meal, the atmosphere shifted abruptly. A man in a tailored suit, his demeanor radiating an air of strict authority, emerged from behind the service counter. The restaurant manager, a middle-aged figure known for his unwavering commitment to the establishment's policies, strode directly toward Barron's table. His tone, both firm and resonant, cut through the ambient chatter. "Excuse me, sir," he announced, ensuring that his words were heard by all in the vicinity. "We have a policy here against political apparel. I must ask you to remove your hat." For a moment, time seemed to pause. Barron's eyes lifted from the menu, meeting the manager's stern gaze with a composed curiosity. He carefully set aside his earbuds, the music he had been listening to now replaced by the palpable tension that rippled through the room. "I wasn't aware of any such policy," Barron replied, his voice measured and respectful, yet carrying an unmistakable firmness. "I'm here simply to enjoy my meal." But the manager's expression remained unmoved. "Our code of conduct is clear," he insisted, gesturing toward the entrance as if to underline his point. "We must maintain a neutral space for all our guests. I'm sorry, but you need to take off that hat." His words, though professional in delivery, ignited a spark that rippled among the onlookers. Some diners pretended not to notice, while others leaned in, smartphones at the ready, to capture the unfolding drama. Inside, a mix of disbelief and quiet indignation hung in the air. Barron, ever the embodiment of calm resolve, met the challenge not with anger, but with a measured disappointment that cut deeper than any raised voice could have. "If my hat is a problem, then I understand your policy," he said softly. "But I believe personal expression should not be stifled. I'm not here to incite controversy. I'm here for lunch." The manager's eyes, narrowed in a mix of determination and discomfort, replied, "Either you remove the hat, or I will have to ask you to leave." In that moment, the restaurant's polished veneer gave way to an undercurrent of judgment and tension. The quiet murmur of the other guests grew louder in Barron's ears, each whisper a reminder of the divisive nature of such encounters in a time when every personal choice seemed to be under scrutiny. Without a trace of theatrics or protest, Barron slowly pushed his chair back and gathered his belongings. His untouched glass of water, still half full, served as a silent witness to the quiet dignity with which he accepted the demand. As he stepped out into the bright Los Angeles light, a cascade of conflicting emotions washed over him. There was a tinge of sorrow, not for himself, but for a society that allowed rigid rules to overshadow individual freedom. Adjusting his red hat with a slight, resolute smile, he took a deep breath, determined to transform this disheartening moment into a beacon for change. Standing on the sidewalk, Barron allowed the warmth of the sun and the soft caress of a gentle breeze to ease his thoughts. In that reflective pause, his mind churned with ideas. Instead of succumbing to bitterness or anger, he saw an opportunity to bridge the divide he had inadvertently become the center of. He took out his phone and sent a brief, heartfelt message to his mother, recounting the events with measured clarity. Almost immediately, sympathetic responses began to pour in from close friends, messages of support and admiration for his calm, unyielding stance against an inflexible norm. One message read, "You handled that with such grace. They should be more open to expression." Another said, "I can't believe they did that. You're standing up for what's right." Each message bolstered his resolve and crystallized a singular thought. If one incident could highlight the deep fissures in societal attitudes, then it could also serve as a rallying cry for unity. Determined to shift the narrative from division to dialogue, Barron began to act. He spent the next few hours reaching out to community organizers, local activists, and influential voices within his network. His plan was simple yet ambitious: a public fundraiser and community event set right outside LA Terrace that would turn a moment of exclusion into an opportunity for collective healing and connection. The event would not only raise funds for local charities, but also celebrate the diversity of opinions, cultures, and experiences that made the city vibrant. It would be a statement, a declaration that even in the face of intolerance, the spirit of unity could prevail. As evening approached, preparations for the event sprang to life with an energy that was both electric and heartfelt. In the space outside the restaurant, large trucks began arriving with equipment, while local artists and volunteers busied themselves setting up stages, tables, and colorful banners. A massive banner was hoisted above the makeshift stage, emblazoned with the words, "United we stand, building bridges, not walls." The message resonated like a clarion call through the bustling streets of Los Angeles, drawing an eclectic crowd from all corners of the city. By early evening, the atmosphere outside LA Terrace had transformed into a vibrant carnival of hope and community spirit. Families strolled in from nearby neighborhoods. Local entrepreneurs offered their wares from food trucks, and musicians tuned their instruments for an impromptu performance that would soon underscore the event's core theme: togetherness. Barron, wearing his signature red hat with renewed pride, moved among the crowd, greeting everyone with a genuine smile and an attentive ear. He listened to the stories of those who had experienced their own moments of exclusion and shared his vision of a community where dialogue and empathy could overcome even the deepest divides. In the midst of the festivities, an impromptu panel discussion was organized. Under the soft glow of string lights, community leaders, activists, and even a few individuals from LA Terrace's staff took the stage. Their conversations, rich with personal anecdotes and thoughtful insights, delved into topics ranging from freedom of expression to the challenges of maintaining neutrality in a polarized society. The dialogue was raw, honest, and, at times, emotionally charged. Yet, above all, it was a testament to the power of human connection, an acknowledgement that while differences in opinion might run deep, the desire for mutual respect and understanding was universal. As the event unfolded, word of the day's transformation spread rapidly through social media. Hashtags such as hashtag United We Stand and hashtag Bridging the Divide began trending as local news outlets captured the unfolding story of redemption and reconciliation. Among the sea of voices, one unexpected figure emerged. The very manager who had enforced the controversial policy earlier that day appeared at the edge of the gathering. His face was etched with a visible mixture of regret and contemplation, a man clearly wrestling with the consequences of his actions. His presence did not go unnoticed. A murmur of anticipation rippled through the crowd as he hesitated, then slowly made his way toward the stage. In a moment that held the promise of transformation, the manager stepped forward and addressed the audience. His voice, though soft and tinged with remorse, carried a sincerity that silenced even the most skeptical onlookers. "I stand before you today to acknowledge that I made a mistake," he said, pausing as his eyes met those of Barron, who had been watching the scene unfold with calm resolve. "Yesterday, I enforced a policy without considering the human element behind it. I believed I was protecting a space of neutrality, but in doing so, I created division. I acted out of fear and inflexibility, and for that, I am truly sorry." The crowd fell into a reflective silence, the weight of his admission hanging in the cool evening air. Barron, stepping forward with the grace that had characterized his every action since the day began, extended his hand in a gesture of reconciliation. "It takes true courage to admit one's errors," he replied warmly, his voice steady and inviting. "Today is not about blame or shame. It's about learning and growing together. Let's use this moment to build a community where every voice is heard and every person is respected." In that instant, as the two men shook hands, an overwhelming sense of unity and hope seemed to permeate the space. The crowd responded with an outpouring of applause, a sound that carried the promise of a better tomorrow. The evening continued with an energy that defied the earlier tension. Music filled the air, a soulful blend of jazz and acoustic melodies that set hearts at ease. Booths lined the makeshift fairground, each offering a slice of local culture. Handcrafted art, organic foods, and interactive installations that invited participants to share their stories. Children laughed and played, their innocent joy a poignant reminder that the future belonged to a generation unburdened by the prejudices of the past. As twilight deepened into a star-studded night, the event's impact rippled outward, touching the lives of everyone who attended. Throughout the night, conversations blossomed between strangers. People from different walks of life, those with divergent political views, cultural backgrounds, and personal experiences, found common ground in their shared desire for connection. Some spoke about the challenges they had faced due to rigid societal norms, while others expressed hope that this gathering might mark the beginning of a new era in which differences were celebrated rather than condemned. The dialogue was raw and unfiltered, yet beneath it all lay a current of mutual respect that bridged even the widest divides. In a quiet moment away from the celebratory bustle, Barron found himself reflecting on the profound transformation that the day had brought about. Sitting on a bench under the gentle glow of fairy lights, he thought about how a single decision, to wear a hat that represented his identity, had sparked a chain reaction leading to heartfelt conversations, sincere apologies, and ultimately, a shared commitment to unity. His eyes wandered to the vibrant crowd outside, where laughter, dialogue, and music intertwined in a tapestry of human resilience. It was in that moment he realized that every challenge, no matter how divisive it seemed at first, held within it the potential for profound change if met with empathy and courage. The night eventually wound down, and as the last of the attendees began to leave, the spirit of the event lingered like a soft melody in the cool air. Volunteers dismantled the booths with tired smiles, and the empty space outside LA Terrace stood as a silent testament to what could be achieved when people came together in the name of understanding. Back inside the restaurant, the manager sat alone in his office, the echo of the day's events reverberating in his thoughts. Surrounded by the quiet hum of his computer and the remnants of a once bustling establishment, he resolved to transform his approach. Plans began to form. A future where LA Terrace could host regular community events, where dialogue and inclusivity were as integral to the dining experience as fine wine and gourmet dishes. In the days and weeks that followed, the story of that fateful afternoon spread far beyond the walls of LA Terrace. Local newspapers and online platforms chronicled the journey from confrontation to reconciliation, and the event became a symbol of hope for a community eager to break free from the chains of division. Social media buzzed with testimonials from those who had been moved by the honest conversations and genuine acts of contrition. Hashtags celebrating unity and mutual respect continued to trend, and soon, the fundraiser was hailed as a turning point, a moment when a single act of personal defiance ignited a movement toward a more compassionate society. For Barron, the experience was both humbling and empowering. In subsequent interviews with local media, he spoke of the incident as a learning experience, a reminder that every moment, no matter how challenging, held the possibility of becoming something transformative. What happened was not just about a hat or a policy, he explained with quiet conviction. It was about the choices we make when confronted with adversity. We can allow differences to drive us apart, or we can choose to build bridges. Today, I choose the latter. His words resonated deeply with people across the community, inspiring countless others to look within themselves and find the strength to act with compassion even when faced with injustice. As the seasons changed, LA Terrace itself began to evolve. The once strict policies gave way to a more nuanced approach that valued the voices of its patrons as much as the culinary experiences it provided. Regular community nights were established where local artists, thinkers, and everyday citizens could gather to discuss ideas, share stories, and celebrate the very diversity that had once been a source of conflict. The manager, now a vocal advocate for open dialogue, became a frequent speaker at these events, using his own journey as an example of how humility and reflection could lead to meaningful change. In a memorable gathering months later, set against the backdrop of a cool, crisp evening, the restaurant hosted a special event commemorating that transformative day. In a packed hall adorned with art and photographs capturing moments of reconciliation, Barron took the stage once more. This time, his speech was not only a recollection of past events, but a call to action for the future. Every single one of us, he declared, his voice echoing through the room, has the power to choose unity over division. It is not the absence of conflict that defines us, but the strength with which we rise above it. His words were met with rapturous applause, a standing ovation that affirmed the collective belief in a future built on empathy and shared purpose. As the night drew to a close, with the glow of hope lingering like the soft afterlight of a setting sun, it was clear that something extraordinary had been achieved. A simple act of self-expression had cascaded into an enduring legacy, a reminder that in our most challenging moments, the opportunity for growth and connection lies just beneath the surface. The story of that Los Angeles afternoon, once marked by tension and division, had blossomed into a living testament to the transformative power of dialogue, courage, and understanding. For those who witnessed that day, and for those who would hear its tale in the years to come, the message was unmistakable. Unity is not an abstract ideal, but a choice that we make in every moment. It is the deliberate decision to listen, to forgive, and to build a community where every voice is valued. In that spirit, the legacy of a red hat, a strict policy, and a moment of heartfelt reconciliation continues to inspire, a beacon for anyone who dares to believe in a world where differences are celebrated rather than feared. And so, as the city of Los Angeles moves forward with its mosaic of cultures, dreams, and stories, the memory of that transformative day remains etched in its heart. It serves as a powerful reminder that even when the world seems intent on driving us apart, there is always a path toward unity, a path illuminated by the courage to stand up for what we believe in, and the wisdom to know that the most enduring strength lies in our shared humanity. This is a story not only of conflict and resolution, but of the beautiful potential that lies within every individual to spark change. It is a call to every listener, every viewer, and every heart that beats with hope. Let us choose to build bridges instead of walls, to embrace our differences and turn them into the tapestry of a vibrant, inclusive future. In every word, every handshake, and every shared smile, there exists the promise that unity, true, transformative unity, is possible, and it begins with each one of us.